In 1590, a man stepped off a ship onto the shore of an island he had left 3 years earlier. He had come back for his family, his wife, his daughter, his granddaughter, the first English child ever born in the Americas. He came back for over 100 people. Every single one of them was gone. No bodies, no graves, no bones, no sign of a battle. The houses had been taken apart piece by piece, and carved into a wooden post at the edge of the settlement was a single word: Croatoan. For over 400 years no one could explain what it meant or where they went, but they were never actually lost, and we can finally prove it. History has a graveyard, full of civilizations, people, and events that didn't make it into the textbooks. I'm going to show you what's buried there. Welcome to Lost History Archive. To understand how 120 people could vanish without a trace, you have to understand how badly England wanted this colony to exist. The year was 1587. England was racing Spain to claim the New World. Sir Walter Raleigh had been granted the right to colonize the coast of what we now call North Carolina. The man chosen to lead the settlers was named John White. He wasn't a soldier. He was an artist, a map maker, and he had something to lose that the others didn't. His entire family was coming with him: his daughter Eleanor, her husband, and soon their newborn daughter, Virginia Dare. 115 colonists landed on Roanoke Island in the summer of 1587. They were supposed to settle further north in the Chesapeake Bay, but the ship's pilot, for reasons that were never fully explained, refused to take them any further. He dropped them on Roanoke, an island they knew was dangerous, because the last group of Englishmen who tried to settle here had already made enemies. A previous expedition had clashed with the local tribes. Blood had been spilled. Trust was gone. The colonists arrived on an island that already wanted them gone. Supplies were running low almost immediately, and so the colonists made a decision. They begged John White to sail back to England to bring back food and reinforcements. White didn't want to leave. He knew how it would look, the governor abandoning his own people. But they convinced him he was the only one with the standing to secure more supplies, so he left. He said goodbye to his daughter and to his granddaughter, who was only 9 days old. He had no way of knowing it was the last time he would ever see them. John White expected to be gone for a few months. He was gone for 3 years. The moment he arrived back in England, the country went to war. The Spanish Armada was bearing down on the English coast. Every single seaworthy ship was seized for the war effort. White was trapped. He begged. He pleaded. He watched the seasons pass, knowing his family was running out of food an ocean away. He managed to launch one attempt, 2 small ships, but the captains turned to piracy, were attacked, and limped back to England. It took until 1590, 3 years, before John White finally set foot on Roanoke again. He landed on August 18th, his granddaughter's 3rd birthday, and what he found was silence. The settlement was still there, but the people were not. There was no sign of a struggle, no bodies, no graves freshly dug, no scattered belongings of a panicked escape. Instead, the houses had been carefully dismantled, taken apart deliberately, the way you do when you are planning to move, not when you are running for your life. A defensive wall of logs had been built around the site after he left, and on one of those logs, carved cleanly into the wood, was the word Croatoan. On a nearby tree, 3 letters, C-R-O. White knew exactly what it meant, or he thought he did. Before he had left, he made an agreement with the colonists. If they ever had to leave, they would carve their destination into a post. And if they left in danger or distress, they would carve a cross above it. White searched the post. There was no cross. Whatever happened to the colonists, they did not leave in fear. And Croatoan was not a mystery word. It was a place. An island 50 miles south. Today we call it Hatteras, home to a friendly tribe of the same name. His people had told him where they were going. All he had to do was sail south and bring them home. He never made it. A storm rolled in the night. White planned to sail for Croatoan. His ships were damaged. Supplies were lost. The crew refused to risk the crossing. They were forced back out to sea, and John White was carried back to England, away from his family, forever. He died years later, never knowing what happened to them, and so the legend began, the lost colony. For 4 centuries, people tried to explain it, and the theories ranged from the reasonable to the absurd. Theory 1. They were slaughtered. Maybe the local tribes they had angered finally took revenge. But there were no bodies, no graves, no remains have ever been found at Roanoke. A massacre of 120 people leaves evidence. This site had none. Theory 2. The Spanish killed them. Spain was at war with England and had destroyed English settlements before. But Spanish records show they never found the colony. They were still looking for it themselves. Theory 3. They tried to sail home. Desperate and starving, maybe they crammed into their small boats and tried to cross the Atlantic. If they did, the ocean swallowed them. But this doesn't fit either. They dismantled their houses for materials. You don't carefully salvage building wood if you're abandoning everything to flee by sea. And then there were the stranger ideas. Disease, cannibalism, a hurricane that wiped them off the map. Even over the centuries, whispers of something supernatural. A colony erased by forces no one could name. But here's what almost everyone missed. The colonists told us exactly where they went. They carved it into the wood. For 400 years we called them lost, when the truth was sitting 50 miles south the entire time. And in the last few years, archaeologists finally went looking. On Hatteras Island, the place the colonists called Croatoan, a team of archaeologists has been digging for over a decade. And what they've pulled out of the ground changes the entire story. Buried beneath layers of earth, mixed in with the tools and pottery of the Croatoan people, they found English objects, a sword hilt, parts of a firearm, European pottery, a piece of a slate writing tablet still marked, a copper ring, and then the detail that stopped them cold, hammer scale, tiny flakes of iron, the byproduct of blacksmithing, forging metal, a skill the Croatoan people did not have, but the English colonists did. This wasn't a few trinkets traded between strangers. This was English settlers living among the Croatoan, working metal, building a life. 50 miles from the colony everyone called lost, and there's more. A second team digging on the mainland to the northwest found their own 16th century English artifacts, guided by a hidden symbol discovered on one of John White's own maps. A fort painted over and concealed, revealed only when the map was held up to the light. 2 locations, 2 sets of evidence, which points to something no one expected. The colony didn't vanish. It didn't die in one catastrophic moment. It split apart, and the survivors walked into the native communities around them and became part of them. They married. They had children. Their blood may still run through the families of that coast today. As one of the archaeologists put it, the colony was never actually lost. The word Croatoan was never a mystery. The two peoples became one. Now not every expert is convinced. Some say we still need a clear European burial to call it settled for good. But for the first time in 400 years, the evidence is finally coming out of the ground, and it's telling us the same thing those colonists tried to tell John White, with a single word carved into a post. They weren't taken. They weren't slaughtered. They weren't erased by something we can't explain. They simply did what people have always done when the world turns against them. They found other people, and they survived. For 4 centuries we told the story of a colony that disappeared. The real story is a colony that chose to live, and carved us a map that took us 400 years to read. History forgot them. We didn't. We'll keep finding them.